This is CBC Business Morning. Thank you so much for joining us. And we start with our local business stories. Minister of Commerce Margaret Manakatwe says intellectual property has the potential to stimulate economic growth. Mrs. Manakatwe said intellectual property has been stimulated through innovations. Mrs. Manakatwe said intellectual property has evolved into a strategic policy instrument for stimulating economic growth. The minister was speaking in Lusaka today when she opened the 39th session of the African Regional Intellectual Property Organization Administrative Council. The 5-day meeting has attracted 19 countries, including the host Zambia, and it is being organized by Patents and Companies Registration Agency, Zambia. She advised people in Africa to nurture innovations to realize this growth. She said technology was offering all domains in people's lives and commended ARIPO organizers for emphasizing and raising capacity in member states. And speaking earlier, PACRA Chief Executive Officer Anthony Bwembia called for compliance and international best practices in tackling changes to national and global trends on intellectual property. Mr. Bwembia disclosed that this institution was reviewing intellectual property laws and that PACRA has made significant strides to automate legal procedures using information technology. The high-level meeting is being attended by ARIPO Director General Emmanuel Dos Santos, senior PACRA officials, and visiting government officials. Government has maintained that it will not be arm-twisted by mining firms in the midst of operational challenges that have arisen due to low copper prices on the international market. Mines Minister Christopher Yaluma says government will, however, continue to call for dialogue with all stakeholders in the mining sector. Mr. Yaluma says if any mining firm decides to close, government is capable of taking over the mine to avoid work stoppages and the cost of resuscitating the mine if left inactive. He, however, said government would manage to run the mine on a temporary basis as it waits to attract new investors to take over the mine. Mr. Yaluma was speaking during Sunday interview on Znbs TV. And Mr. Yaluma says retrenchment of any workers in the mine should be justified, adding that government will not dictate but ensure that it negotiates with the mining houses on their decisions. He added that the mines in the country are still operational at a low cost and due to the low copper prices. Mr. Yaluma said only Luwansha copper mine has been placed under care and maintenance. Oilseed crops can increase farm revenues if the smallholder farmers produced efficiently to obtain their market prices, said Edible Oil Refiners Association consultant Aubrey Chibumba. Mr. Chibumba said it was important that diversification options were made available to the economy, adding that Zambia was a limited exporter of protein principally because of lack of stock feed. He said locally produced oil could enable government to cut back on crude oil imports, which currently stand at over $70 million United States dollars annually. Mr. Chibumba said locally packed oils were cheaper than the crude edible oil imported from Indonesia and Malaysia because this was only promoting value addition in those respective countries. He said it was important to increase the availability of stock feed if additional employment was to be created. Mr. Chibumba said that the demand for edible oils in Zambia was huge and would continue to grow as the country developed. He said programs for the introduction of structured edible oil markets would support the smallholder farmers to improve their farming efficiency and access to markets. Mr. Chibumba said that the animal husbandry sector also supported the meat processing and meat packing subsectors. He said industries in Zambia with significant growth potential could only be realized if the underpinning edible oil sector was operating effectively. He said that the edible oil industry was one of the largest sectors in Zambia and also critical to food production in the country. Over $150 million United States dollars has been invested in the industry to produce 20,000 metric tons of refined vegetable oil per month, over twice the domestic consumption of just less than 10,000 metric tons per month. Former Economic Association of Zambia President Isaac Ngoma has called on the media to take time to study relevant mining general public. Mr. Ngoma says that the media is a critical conveyor of information, hence the need to understand any information before dissemination. He said this when he officiated at KCM Media Breakfast on Monday at Crestview Hotel in Lusaka.
Framework that we're going to be looking at. So the basis for assessing performance and outlook for the global and national context is drawn from these three key aspects. One, I have with me, I don't know if some of you have been able to access this, the Media Economic Review. This is a document coming from the Ministry of Finance. So to avoid any misrepresentations, misinformation, as we are always called upon to do, we need to stick to official data. So what I say is validated by official government-produced statistics. So whatever I say is what I said before ECHI, before Minister Chikwanda, and in our consultations and advisory role. This is exactly what it says. So if there are distortions, it means that they're coming from the other side. But ultimately, you should know that in what you do as conveyors of information, you are a very critical stakeholder in economic development. So if you distort information, you misinform the public, it means that ultimately you are going to have, a wrong perception built around things that are supposed to be projected in a very different way.
And speaking earlier at the same event, KCM Chief Executive Officer Stephen Dean says his company has a workforce of about 16,000 employees and contractors, the largest investment in Zambia. Mr. Dean says that the company has invested about $3 billion in the last 10 years, adding that the workforce has been solely focused on safety management.
KCM today is in fact the largest foreign investment in Zambia, and we've invested just under $3 billion in the last 10 years, and that $10 billion has been invested in upgrading assets essentially, and therefore increasing the life of the mine, which has gone from the 10 years, which was originally planned in 2004, up to over 30 years at the moment. So it's one of the largest employers in Zambia. I'm sure that you've all heard that before. We currently have a workforce of 16,000 people, which includes KCM employees and also contractors. As you saw, we're a business which is very much focused on the safety of our employees. In fact, it's my number one priority. My three priorities as far as KCM is concerned, and I've maintained this from day one, are first of all safety, secondly production, and thirdly teamwork. And I think that consistent message that we've applied over the last few months is actually giving us some benefits today.
Meanwhile, KCM Vice President-elect David Patterson has called for transparency from his company and the media in reporting on mining issues. He says that this is where the latter will exercise responsible reporting.
A greater level of engagement with the media. I think that it's good for us. We think that it's good for you as well. And we do want to convey the point that we want to move to a point of greater transparency and engagement. So essentially, you know where we are. You've got our details, and we're always happy to talk. And particularly if it involves. I mean, these are often complex issues, and we want to take the time to explain them in depth, even when it's not always easy or simple issue to discuss.
This is CBC Business Morning. Coming up next is the international business news. Keep watching. This is the international business news segment here on CBC Business Morning. Dr. Patrick Njoroge, Governor of the Central Bank of Kenya, said in Nairobi on Friday that Africa can minimize how much it is affected by global shocks by taking advantage of the services and programs available from strong African multilateral development finance institutions like the African Export-Import Bank. In a statement on his behalf by Anne Mwoki, Assistant Director in the bank, during the final session of the 15th Afreximbank Structured Trade Finance Seminar, Dr. Njoroge said that the continent's overdependence on external financing sources made it vulnerable to such shocks. The governor urged the participants to share the knowledge they had acquired during the 4-day seminar with their colleagues and counterparts in their home countries upon their return. Also speaking, Dr. Hippolyte Fofak, Afreximbank's chief economist, commended the Central Bank of Kenya its support for the seminar and said that the training provided participants with the tools to effectively structure bankable trade finance transactions adapted to the specific context of African markets. At the official closing ceremony, Dr. George Elombi, Afreximbank's Executive Vice President for Corporate Governance and Legal Services, said that the bank had identified structured trade finance as an important tool for financing African trade. He added that the bank was actively promoting factoring and forfeiting in other to meet the financing needs of Africa's small and medium-sized enterprises. Some 120 participants from 24 countries across Africa received certificates for completing the training programs, which features experts from the United States, the United Kingdom, Switzerland, China, India, and Africa, sharing their knowledge with the African bankers, legal practitioners, insurers, financial institutions, funds, venture capital institutions, and corporate entities engaged in trade finance and trade-related projects. The training, which consisted of a 2-day full-session seminar on 10 and 11th November, followed by a 2-day workshop on receivables financing, factoring, forfeiting, and supply chain financing, was organized in partnership with the Central Bank of Kenya. And in another story, which billionaire investors swapped eBay stake for PayPal? Regulatory filings show Monday that billionaire activist investor Carl Icahn swapped his entire equity stake in eBay for the same number of shares in PayPal in the third quarter. Watch it, here's more.
Regulatory filings showed Monday that billionaire activist investor Carl Icahn swapped his entire equity stake in eBay for the same number of shares in PayPal in the third quarter. The filings with the Securities and Exchange Commission showed that Icahn sold a stake of 46.3 million shares in eBay and reported the same number of shares in PayPal, which completed its spin-off from eBay in mid-July. Icahn, whose PayPal stake as of September 30th accounted to 3.8% of the company, had pushed for eBay to spin off PayPal last year and has board representation at PayPal through Icahn Capital Managing Director Jonathan Cristodoro.
Asian stocks gained early on Tuesday, taking heart after seeing Wall Street take the attacks in Paris in stride and surge overnight, while expectations for a rate hike by the Federal Reserve in December kept the dollar on a bullish footing. Watch it, has more again. Microsoft cuts Znbs. The online service was taken down by Microsoft on Sunday, 4 years after ending the production of the MP3 it supported. Watch It has the details.
Zune is officially dead. The online service was taken down by Microsoft on Sunday, 4 years after ending the production of the MP3 it supported. Launching the brand in 2006, the Microsoft device and service worked well, but came into a consumer environment established and controlled by the iPod and Apple. 1 year later, the iPhone would release, which began to render the portable MP3 player obsolete. Subscribers of the Zune Music Pass can now convert to the Groove Music Pass. Others may be eligible for a prorated refund.
Investors in Urban Outfitters don't think a recent acquisition is a good fit for their clothing line. Watch it.
Investors in Urban Outfitters don't think a recent acquisition is a good fit for the clothing line. After announcing their intent to purchase pizza chain Pizzeria Vetri, shares have dropped 7%. The stock has now lost half its value since March 1st. But the clothing company has countered with a credible argument for diversifying their assets, as the restaurant chain and its restaurateur, Mark Vetri, have done well after 2 years of operating. CEO Richard A. Hain added in a press release that the casual dining experience is a tremendous opportunity for expansion.
New York Attorney General Eric Schneiderman, who adored industry giants DraftKings and FanDuel this past week to stop accepting play from New Yorkers, saying their business amounts to illegal gambling. Watch it.
New York Attorney General Eric Schneiderman, who ordered industry giants DraftKings and FanDuel this past week to stop accepting play from New Yorkers, saying their business amounts to illegal gambling. The Democrat told the Associated Press in an interview this past week, "One of the amazing things about this job is we can go from antitrust law to busting up a gun trafficking enterprise in the same day." Still, some question whether Schneiderman's moves are as much about profile building as protecting the public. His two immediate predecessors in the Attorney General's job have moved on to the governor's office. Schneiderman says the answer is simple. New York law bans taking bets as a business, with exceptions for horse racing, casinos, state lotteries, and certain other settings, but not daily fantasy sports sites.
And finally, in an international business news, new feature makes it easier for Uber to pick up more people. For many, Uber is a way for people to make some extra money on the side, and the company is now testing a new feature to make that even easier for drivers. Watch It has a story.
For many, Uber is a way for people to make some extra money on the side, and the company is now testing a new feature to make that even easier for drivers. This week, the car service announced that it is piloting a feature in the Bay Area that lets drivers input their destinations to be matched with passengers traveling the same direction. Twice a day, drivers can input a destination and the app locates passengers headed in the same general direction. The feature is available to virtually anyone driving with Uber. Drivers just select a saved destination or search for a new destination, and with the destination chosen, the app will automatically find potential riders headed in the same direction. Though it's only being tested in the Bay Area for now, Uber says it will come to other large markets in the near future.
You're watching CBC Business Morning. Coming up next is a Capital Market News. Keep watching. This is a Capital Market News segment here on CBC Business Morning, where we take a look at the stock markets across Africa, and we start with South Africa. Storage 8, the largest and leading self-storage company in South Africa, has listed on the Johannesburg Stock Exchange as the first company in that sector to list on the bourse. It is the fifth company to list on the exchange this year. It listed on the real estate specialty sector under the code SSS. The sector has a market cap of 687 billion rands. The JSE has an overall market cap of 11.9 trillion rands. The Cape Town-based Storage features a portfolio of premium-grade self-storage facilities in operation and under development throughout South Africa. And in Nigeria, AfriClear Global is to launch unveiled initiatives designed to promote financial inclusion and improve market integration across Africa by floating a platform that will enable investors attend general meetings electronically and vote in real time. Investors can also appoint proxy, attend concurrent meetings, ask questions and express opinions among numerous other functions. AfriClear was initiated by Central Depository and Settlement Corporation Kenya and the Central Securities Clearing System PLC Nigeria and Altri Financial Group. Speaking at the end of board meeting of group in Lagos, its chairman and chief executive officer of CDSE Kenya, Ms. Rose Mambo, said that the platform will enable issuers to make convocations, announce agendas, share documents, and more effectively control the meeting process. According to her, the electronic general meeting platform will improve financial inclusion for shareholders whilst reducing issuer costs by leveraging operating efficiencies. AfriClear also disclosed that it intends to facilitate connectivity between CDSE. And now in Zimbabwe, Zimbabwe Stock Exchange listed Qualcomm Holdings Limited will spend about $7 million towards expansion as the company steps up efforts to compare its performance with regional producers. Qualcomm Group Chief Executive Dino Tumazos said that the expansion projects had been identified. He was speaking after the company's annual general meeting on Friday. Mr. Tumazos said Qualcomm expects to put up a new facility to produce an additional 150 peaks per week by the third quarter of 2016. Giving a trading update, Mr. Tumazos said that the company's revenue for the first quarter of the 2016 financial year is lower compared to prior comparable periods. He attributed depressed performance in the current quarter to weak economic fundamentals and rising competition. Liquidity is tight and trading conditions are being made even more difficult with increased competition coming into a shrinking market. And again in Nigeria, over 500 public companies may be sanctioned by the Securities and Exchange Commission for not registering their securities with the Commission. This day checks at the weekend have revealed public companies, according to the Companies and Allied Matters Act 1990, are firms that have more than 50 shareholders. And once the companies have been registered by Corporate Affairs Commission, the Investments and Securities Act 2007 gives the SEC the power to register all securities of such public companies. SEC had in February 2014 given June 2014 deadline to register their securities or face the appropriate sanctions. It was gathered that over 100 public companies have already registered their securities with SEC, leaving more than 500 others to do so. Market sources said given the renewed efforts by regulators to ensure compliance with rules and regulators guiding operation in the nation's economy, the companies that are yet to register their securities may be in for a tough time in the months ahead as the Commission is planning to ensure compliance. And still in Nigeria, heavy transactions in the shares of some banks, especially Access Bank and Guarantee Trust Bank, last week boiled the volume of shares traded as a turnover of 2.064 billion shares worth 23.397 billion naira was recorded. The trading was executed 14,992 deals by investors on the floor of the Nigerian Stock Exchange, in contrast to a total of 1.949 billion shares valued at 17.336 billion naira, which changed hands in 15,000 762 deals during the preceding week. Specifically, the financial services industry, measured by volume, that led the activity chart with 1.484 billion shares valued at 14.555 billion naira and 8,406 deals, thus contributing 71.90% and 62.21% to the total equity turnover volume and value, respectively. The oil and gas industry followed with 324.106 million shares with 1.839 billion naira in 1,680 deals. The third place was occupied by the conglomerate sector with a turnover of 97.566 million shares with 225.662 million naira in 938 deals, trading in the top three equities. Access Bank, GTP, and Beko Petroleum PLC, measured by volume, accounted for 1.034 billion shares with 10.907 billion naira in 1,954 deals, contributing 50.11% and 46.62% to the total equity turnover volume and value, respectively. Also trading during the week were a total of 4,044 units of exchange traded products valued at 281,820.83 naira, executed in 40 deals, compared with a total of 7,291 units valued at 437,490.20 naira transacted last week in 35 deals. A total of 3,026 units of FGN bonds valued at 3,814 million naira were traded in 4 deals this week. And now let's take a look at the local equity market news. Trading occurred in CCHZ, SCZ, and Zanaco. A total of 60,268 shares were transacted in six trades, resulting in a market turnover of 120,425 kwacha. The Luce Oshare Index last maintained the previous close of 5,759.67 points, as there were no share price changes. The market closed in a capitalization of 64,384 million kwacha, including Shoprite Holdings, and 30,144 million kwacha, excluding Shoprite Holdings, and as shown on your screen. And we now take a look at the most active stocks. We only have 3 companies, and that is CCHZ at 2 kwacha, SCZ 1 kwacha 19 ngwe, and finally or lastly Zanaco at 1 kwacha 28 ngwe. This is CBC Business News. We now break for a commercial break. Then after, we'll have an interview with Mr. Chandamwanga, PRO, Public Relations Officer from Zambia National Building Society. Join Evans Chilandan Mutanshi after the short commercial break and keep watching.
Don't compromise when it comes to safety. Lexcar Fire Equipment and Services Limited, supplier and service provider to all types of fire safety equipment, subs approved for domestic and industrial requirements, fire alarm and detection systems, gas and extinguishing systems, all occupation, health and safety science. Other services include basic firefighting training, first aid training, fire and safety audit, house material training. For more details, please contact us on tel or fax +260 211 849013. Cell +260 955 752432. +260 964 074422. Email lexcalusaka@gmail.com or visit our website www.lexcafire.com. You can come in person at plot number 8600 Lupenga Road off Los Angeles Road, Lusaka. Visit our branches in Chipata, Mongu, Ndola and Kasama. Lexcar Fire Equipment and Services Limited, for safety and perfection since 2001.
Hi, this is Courtney.
And this is Kelly.
And we are Jazz Invitation, all the way from Zimbabwe. We are having a massive throwdown gig at Portico Lusaka on the 21st of November.
Starting from 20-30 hours.
So come through and let's party.
So we're going to keep your shoes on the dance floor.
JI for life.
Welcome back. You're still watching CBC Business Morning, and you're live on this segment where we have a guest. And today our guest is Mr. Chanda Mubanga, Public Relations and Marketing Officer from Zambia National Building Society. As you may be aware, the Zambia National Building Society is one of Zambia's mortgage financing institutions that has been around for many years, as we'll be able to hear more from Mr. Chanda. Now, there's a lot of misunderstanding as to what Znbs does, which is Zambia National Building Society. What does it do? Whether they construct houses, sell houses, or indeed financing. We are joined in the studio, like I said earlier on, by the Zambia National Building Society Public Relations and Marketing Officer. Help me welcome Mr. Chanda. Mr. Chanda, welcome to the interview.
Thank you so much, Evans. It's a pleasure to be here.
How have you been?
Not so bad. It's very hot out there. We were hoping that the rains from the weekend would continue into the week, but unfortunately, we keep waiting to hear from to see some more rains so that we can be, you know, the weather can stabilize a bit.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. To start with, what is Zambia National Building Society and when was it formed?
Thank you very much. And before I answer that, I'd like to say thank you so much to yourself, CBC, and the management for according us this opportunity to be on air and talk to the viewers out there, make them understand who we are, what we do, where we're coming from, and where we're going. To come to your question, Zambia National Building Society, like you rightly put it in your preamble, is Zambia's mortgage financing institution, right. Wholly owned by the government of the Republic of Zambia under the Minister of Finance, of course. Our core business is mortgage financing. Okay. That is financing construction of houses by individuals, and that is residential property only. And there are people that have expressed concerns, especially to do with financing for businesses and so on and so forth, and also those that think we actually construct houses and sell the houses and things like that. Like you had pointed out in your preamble, we exist for mortgage financing only. Okay. And financing residential properties and not commercial properties, not not anything commercial. We do not construct houses, we do not sell houses on behalf of anyone, unless under special circumstances or under special agreements that we'll be able to talk about as we go on.
Right. Okay. So how does one qualify for a mortgage?
One to qualify for a mortgage, first of all, there are different types of mortgages that that we give out or we offer. We have mortgages for construction. We have mortgages for outright purchase, and there's a mortgage for home improvement, as it were. For construction, first of all, you need to have a piece of land. And that piece of land must have what we call a security document. Security document could be a land record card, it could be a title deed, it could be an occupancy license. You must have that first of all. Why we ask for that is because when you come to apply for a mortgage, there is an element of collateral that is required. We will not ask you to go and look for another house that you can pledge as collateral so that you can get a mortgage. As long as you have the security documents that we are asking for at the stage of application, the house that you're going to build becomes the collateral itself. Unless you yourself decide, no, I'll give you this other property as collateral, and then you give me money to go and build this other one. That's the reason why we say your plot or your piece of land must have that security document, which is a title deed, land record card, or occupancy license. From there, now you need to get an approved building plan. This building plan must be approved by the local authority in the area where you reside. Could be in Kasama, in Chipata, Solwezi, Mongu, or wherever you may be. Other than that, you need to attach also a schedule of your works, we would call a BOQ, or Bill of Quantities. And from there, now we'll ask that you attach the other KYCs. That would be your a letter of introduction from the employer. You have a photocopy of NRC, utility, proof of residence could be a utility bill from electricity, water, and whatever it may be, and a few other requirements that will be able to ask from you. But those are the main requirements that you need to present before you can get a mortgage. Now, that's for construction. If you talk about outright purchase, that is where now you need to build, you need to buy a house that is already in place. You know, everything is done. All you need to do is just buy that house and move in, or buy that house, put it on rent, or whatever it is that you want to do with it. In that case, then you will have to first of all present a letter of offer from the person that's selling that house to you. That person must also be able to avail the security document for that particular property. Could be the any of the three that I mentioned: the title deed, land record card, or occupancy license. All those would be needed, and then plus the other KYCs, and we are good to go. That also applies for what we call home improvement, because this is where you have a property that's already done, but then you just want to better it. You know, you feel you need to put tiles in a house that has been around for a long time without tiles. You need to maybe extend it and have one extra room, or you want to, whatever touches you want to do on that house. You also need to present the requirements just the way you present them for outright purchase, because you must have that house in your name, it must be on title, and or it must have any of the security documents that I did talk about. So those are some of the things that you need to present in order for you to be able to apply. But of course, our mortgages have a tenure of 10 years. You know, you get a mortgage, you pay back within a period of 10 years, unless you choose to go for a medium term, which is 5 years. Now, when we talk about that tenure, we bear in mind how many working years you still have remaining. So if you are retired, you have already hammered 55 or 60 years, which is a retirement age, or 65, then your chances are very, very slim. You may not be able to get a mortgage. But if you still have those working years, you're at 35, you're at 25, you can still come through for a mortgage, because then we're assured that you're far from reaching your retirement.
Right. Okay, I just want you to make one thing clear. You don't need to hold an account with Znbs.
That's a prerequisite.
You
You need to open an account, because you need to be our customer for us to be able to serve you. But there are instances where at the initial stage of application, you can bring all the requirements for a mortgage, but before the mortgage is dispersed, you need to have an account we call the mortgage shares account, with where you need to deposit a minimum of 1,000 kwacha for you to make it active, and that is where the disbursement is going to be done through. And there are issues of insurance on mortgage, and the claims are going to be, or rather the premiums are going to be paid through that account, and it serves a lot of purposes. So you need to actually have an account. You can go further and open an account with our banking division, which does deposit taking, and you stand to benefit a lot more than just a mortgage.
Okay. You know, I want us to look at two issues. You know, there's a financial exclusion and housing deficit in the country at the moment. You being a financial sector player, you know, what is your role to ensure that this reduction is attained?
Great. Those are two very big concerns, like I said. A housing deficit, depending on who you are hearing it from, is between 1 million and 3 million. That is a huge challenge that we need to respond to as financial sector players, particularly those of us charged with the responsibility of increasing the housing stock in the country. You know, so as Zambia National Building Society, we have gone into various partnerships to try and facilitate home ownership by members of the public out there. First of all, there are issues that you need to consider here. One, affordable housing, and two, decent housing. You know, a number of institutions have been tasked with the responsibility of constructing houses, but then there's another worry of the unplanned settlements that are coming up. So we want to try and see how we can move from the unplanned settlements to the planned, and make it affordable for people out there. The partnerships that we have gone into, like I said, we are mortgage financing only. We are not in construction. So we've gone into partnerships with construction companies that are building houses and refinancing. One of them is National Housing Authority. National Housing Authority has a mandate of constructing houses and selling them out to citizens at a very affordable price. And so they thought, because we are a financial institution that provides mortgages, we could go into that deliberate partnership where they offer a house to a person, and then we come in with financing. So when that person is eligible for a house from NHF, for example, they come to Zambia National Building Society, and we also assess their eligibility to get a mortgage. Then they get a mortgage and go to buy that house. You agree with me that very few people now can afford to buy a house outrightly from their pockets. That's where we come in. That's number one. Secondly, we have another MOU with Lafarge, where we want to make it more affordable to build a house. There is, out of that partnership, there is a product we have developed called the Mortgage Plus. The Mortgage Plus will allow you to get a free building plan. It will allow you to get a free BOQ, and it will allow you to get free technical support if you get any of the following loans: either a mortgage for construction, or what we call a building materials loan from our banking division. We have a banking division that's for deposit taking, but they also offer banking loans. Now, one of them, which is the next best alternative to mortgage, is a building materials loan. So when you get any of these two loans, you stand a chance of benefiting from the Mortgage Plus in those ways.
Right.
Yeah. So there's so many partnerships that we have gone in. We recently signed an MOU with NAPSA that we are going to be selling. Trying to run away from the word selling, but due to lack of a better term, this is what I'll use: selling houses for NAPSA, Kalulushi, as well as the ones in at Northgate in Lusaka here. You know, NAPSA is giving out away those prices, those houses at a reduced price in Kalulushi, with a reduction of about 40% on low-cost houses, 30% on medium-cost houses, and 20% on high-cost houses. Our duty or our role as a partner in that process is to register a mortgage on Evans that comes to apply for or that wants a house from NAPSA. We register a mortgage, but will not give you the money. NAPSA through Sherwood Green, who is a property manager, will give you that house and give you an offer letter, and then you come to us and we register on our file, and you start paying back the repayments based on the amount that you are entitled to, amount that has been registered on that file. So that is to try and make it easier and more affordable for people to acquire property in the different ways.
Thank you very much. Let's finally, as we wind up, I know time is also cruising. Let's look at the baby wallet savings.
Yes.
What's this promotion all about, and why the children?
This is to try and respond also to a question, the second part of your question of financial inclusion.
Right.
The baby wallet savings promotion is a promotion that is driving or that is anchored on the baby wallet account. We have an account we call the baby wallet for children below the age of 16. And that is one of the interventions we're using to try and create or to try and increase financial inclusion. You and I are aware that the financial inclusion statistics have gone up from about 39% from about 3 years ago to 59%, 59.3 to be precisely, as released by the FinScope survey. This was an agenda set by the Bank of Zambia and a target set by the Bank of Zambia of 50% by the end of 2015. But we have reached it before even 2015 is over. And that's one of the strategies that we're using as Zambia National Building Society to try and reach out to the younger population through the baby wallet account itself. This is an account that does not attract any charges on it, first of all. It gives you interest of 5% per annum, and you have a minimum balance or book balance of only 200 kwacha. And on a monthly basis, you'll be required to deposit a minimum of 200 kwacha. This one is meant for that little child that you want to save money for school. You want to keep aside some money for their school, so that when time comes to pay school fees, you don't have to start scratching your head and say where you're going to get the money from. So that is the best way to go in terms of saving for the little ones. You will only be allowed to withdraw once in 12 months, and that's because we want you to save for that particular purpose, not for anything. Because if you saved for anything, you'd be coming to withdraw every day. You know, so that is the baby wallet account. And so the baby wallet savings promotion is to try and reward those customers that are supporting us through deposit mobilization. And we have a big prize of a 3-bedroom house at Northgate Gardens. One of those NAPSA, NHA houses at Northgate Gardens. So that's a bigger prize. All you need to do to enter into that promotion, if I can do a bit of selling here, I hope you not give me an invoice, is all you need to do is open that baby wallet account, deposit 200 kwacha for a start, and then deposit a further 1,000 kwacha, and then you stand a chance of winning that house. Now, this promotion started about 8-9 months ago. It will come to an end at the end of November.
And that was the response so far?
The response has been good. We would have loved to get more and more on board, but so far we're doing okay. We have been able to open over 700-800 accounts or so, and that's already an indication that we are doing our part in terms of financial inclusion. Getting back to the promotion, there are other consolation prizes. The LED TV screen, 32-inch. We'll have an upright fridge that we're giving out. We've got a 4-plate cooker that we're giving out. So those that will not be able to win the house stand a chance of winning any of those three. So it closes at the end of this month, to be specific, 30th November. People still have a chance. They can walk up to any Znbs branch, open that account, and enter into that promotion.
That's cool. Any final remarks?
I think the final remarks for me would be to try and call upon all members of the public to take interest in savings. We know what's happening in the economy right now, and people think there's no money to put aside to save. There's a lot of money. There's enough money that you can save from unnecessary spending and put it aside so that you can fall back on it on that rainy day. So as you walk into our branches, into any financial institution, ask for more and more information so that you understand what product you're buying from that financial institution. You understand what product you're buying from Zambia National Building Society. If it's the baby wallet account, ask more or get more information so that you understand exactly what you're getting into, which is something that you enjoy at the end of the day.
Mr. Wang, thank you very much for coming.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much for having us here.
Well, viewers, that's how we come to the end of the interview. But Mr. Mubanga is coming again on Tuesday, same time next week at 11:30. And if you have any issues and concerns or questions, please make use of the number 0966 978650. I did want to give you at the beginning because you would have called me 0966 978650. There are a lot of issues which we would like to understand from the Zambia National Building Society. So we need to make use of this time so that we can be able to be abreast with the information. This is latest information. And don't forget the baby wallet promotion. It ends at on 30th November. You need to be part of that. Who knows? You may win that house. As we wind up, we'll look at our current news. Forex table provided by Zambia National Commercial Bank. The US dollar today is buying at 12 kwacha 22 and selling at 12 kwacha 47. The British pound is buying at 18 kwacha 58 and selling at 18 kwacha 95. The euro is buying at 13 kwacha 12 ngwe and selling at 13 kwacha 38 ngwe. The South African rand is buying at 85 ngwe and selling at 86 ngwe. I can't see the table. I know my director will show you the table there. Coming to commodity news as compiled by Bloomberg News, copper prices on the London Metal Exchange traded at $4,825 per metric ton, up by 0.03% from their previous trading day's price, while crude oil Brent traded at $44.18 per barrel, down by 0.65%, as you can see on the table there. Gold COMEX was traded at $1,086.20 an ounce, up by 0.49% from the previous trading day's price. On that note, we wrap up our business morning today. Thank you so very much for watching CBC Business Morning. Keep watching CBC for in-depth news and business information. On behalf of everyone involved, I'm Evans Chilandani Mutanshi. Good day.
Don't compromise when it comes to safety. Lexka Fire Equipment and Services Limited, supplier and service provider to all types of fire safety equipment, subs approved for domestic and industrial requirements, fire alarm and detection systems, gas and extinguishing systems, all occupation, health and safety science. Other services include basic firefighting training, first aid training, fire and safety audit, house material training. For more details, please contact us on tel or fax +260 211 849013. Cell +260 955 752432. +260 964 074422. Email lexkalusaka@gmail.com or visit our website www.lexcafire.com. You can come in person at plot number 8600 Lupenga Road off Los Angeles Road, Lusaka. Visit our branches in Chipata, Mungu, Ndola and Kasama. Lexka Fire Equipment and Services Limited, for safety and perfection since 2001. Pitma Consultancy, your study abroad experts. Admissions are on for November and December 2015 intake, January, February and March 2016 intake to study in China, India and Cyprus at prestigious universities with very affordable fee structures. Programs on offer include medicine, pharmacy, nursing, information technology, engineering, aeronautics, aerospace engineering, architecture, business administration, economics, law, journalism and mass communication, and many more. Pitma Consultancy, located at Indeco House, 7th floor, room number 5, Cairo Road, Lusaka. Call 0974-018829 or 0976-458722 or 0965-271803 or email mdpetme@gmail.com or info.pitme@gmail.com.
Hi, this is Courtney.
And this is Kelly.
And we are Jazz Invitation, all the way from Zimbabwe. We are having a massive throwdown gig at Portico Lusaka on the 21st of November.
Starting from 20-30 hours.
So come through and let's party.
So we're going to keep your shoes on the dance floor.
JI for life.
Waende ya watisemi. Sasa unaweka kazi gati zikutu.
Tuwezi.
Chimvele mwe chimveke. Chimveka bwana.
Kuchibwira sana chiziba. Same tugona hapo bedi.
Nikamba kuchimvela kunana ukumitundo hizi.
Patumveka tumashawa shawa hapa ka?
Adadi. Pamwera.
Mwachi ukula chipachipuba yo. Atate bako batunda mubirikisha mbili. No, adadi batunda. So
nujani noti tumashawa mitundo zambo vechinunga.
sominga mtuno zanga waulimbikira mo ine ndawa kutunda sinambile paliwa olenga bokwatira kutunda kwe